Ready?
Ready?
3,
3, 2,
2,
1.
1. Welcome back to another episode of Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. Today, we are joined by the wonderful, lovely Mari. Welcome, Mari.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I know. I'm excited to talk to you, especially after the day I've had. It's been wild, crazy work day. I feel like I need cleansing of sorts.
Wait till you find out what's going on in my head.
Maybe we can distract each other from our own reality and step into another reality together. So you've had a tough week?
I've had a tough year, it feels like. Yeah, I've had a tough week. But usually, and it's not the holidays either, because usually I always tell people, they don't even realize that people tend to get incredibly stressed around the holidays. Even if you think that you're like the most easygoing person, that you don't do much, that you don't prep much. We have so much expectations. We have so much pressure that we put on ourselves, even if we do the bare minimum. And everyone, and there are crowds everywhere, and everybody's shopping, and everyone's like, what are you doing? And what are you doing? Well, how about if I just stay home and do nothing? Wouldn't that be nice?
I would love that.
Right? No presents, nothing. Just me, a book, maybe a cup of tea, a cozy blanket. This is perfect. This is what I want. This is what I want for the holidays.
I swear to God, the two of you are soul sisters.
I know. We started last year. I'm calling it a tradition. This will be our second year, where on Christmas Eve, so my family, they go big on Christmas Eve. It's usually a huge party. Everybody dresses up. It's like a big thing, right? And when you're younger, I think that that's fun. But again, like you said, you're stressed towards the holidays. Same here. Work is crazy. It's not the holiday season that's stressing me out. It's everything else, right? So last year, same sort of scenario. And we started a Christmas Eve that we would host, but it was come in your pajamas and we'll play games and laugh and take ourselves not serious at all. And we do a white elephant gift so that we don't have the stress of getting everybody something.
I love them.
And so, yeah, this year we're even thinking of like, let's just do like a taco bar. Like, why does it have to be a huge thing? Like, I just want it to be a relaxing, fun, stress-free.
I feel like that would be even more fun. You know,
Right?
taco bar and like dessert bar maybe or something.
Yeah.
It makes their own Sundays and that's it.
Right. Like, make whatever you want with these ingredients.
I really do like that. I really do. It gets to be too much.
Do you have booze included in that?
Always. I do a cocktail. I will commit myself to making a themed drink. This year, I keep seeing recipes on TikTok for a white margarita. I might go for, I love tequila. So like count me in on that. So yeah, there's liquor involved for sure.
I could, get behind that. I like that. That sounds really good.
Try it. If you're in Georgia, stop by. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not that far. I'm only about like 9 hours. No.
Yeah.
Come on. What's 11 hours?
we just had so much fun last year, and it was my in-laws and my parents and my brother and my nieces and nephews, and we just had fun playing silly games, everybody laughing. It was just a blast. It was the best. So
this is what it should be about.
Yeah.
This is what it should be about. Not getting presents. Although, I do like getting presents. I won't lie. But, I do. But I mean, it shouldn't be about presents or, things I must get accomplished, things I must do. And what if I don't cook 17 dishes? And what if I order, I don't know. It's just too much pressure.
Y'all should be like me. For every one present I buy somebody, I buy myself two.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So you got everything you ever need because you pulled the presents.
That is correct.
I know. What does that leave everybody else to get you though, if you're buying everything you want?
I buy the expensive stuff. Okay,
I like that. I like that even more.
You can buy me the test toys. You can buy me, a locator for my phone, things like that. You can buy me those kinds of things. But I'm kind of bougie when it comes to my electronics. So, I don't want to leave that in the hands of somebody, that's inexperienced and doesn't live in my head.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what you like? I like that. You know what I requested? And I'm being dead serious right now. I requested energy healing sessions. I'm not kidding. And that's not because this is what I do. It's not that. It's because I know that I cannot work on myself with myself. Because once I start getting gunk out and I'm emotionally involved, and it's very like sometimes I get really, really deep, and I feel like I need someone who's completely objective, someone who's not, involved in the outcome, not emotionally involved with what's going on. So I have two teachers that I worked with, and now I go to them for my session. So I really want someone who's getting me presents, just get me sessions so that I know that it's paid for and I don't need to worry about it. And I could use them when I need them
Yeah.
because I do need them. I mean, we all need them.
Yeah. And for the listeners, we're recording this now. It's before Christmas, but this is a PSA for you, Mari. Whoever's listening, for your birthday, any gift, energy healing sessions.
Because it's the best gift. It's something that I know I will love and I will use. And it's not just, get me a session with anyone. It's with people I trust. And I know that they get the job done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about how you found that to be helpful for yourself.
Okay. So this is the story I tell. This is completely true. This is my story and it's true. I spent over 20 years severely depressed. I didn't even know how badly depressed I was. I didn't realize it because I had what they call functional depression, where you're able to get up in the morning and you're able to force yourself to do the things you need to do and go to work and take care of your family. And then I would wake up at night, not able to sleep, thinking, to an outsider looking in, it seemed like I have everything everybody could ever want. I had a family, I had a career, I had friends, I was liked, I was respected, everything was great. And I was thinking, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me that I am so unsatisfied and I'm feeling this heavy fog that follows me everywhere? It's like I felt like I went everywhere in this fog, I couldn't feel things deeply. I couldn't get too happy. Nothing was working. I tried everything. I tried medication. I tried meditation. I tried therapy, conventional therapy. Some things helped a little bit. I'm not saying nothing worked. Some things helped a little bit, but nothing made that much of a difference. And so I said, okay, let me clean up my diet. Let me take out all processed foods. That helped a little. That didn't cure me. I don't like that word, but that didn't really help. Okay, scalding hot showers, ice baths, all the things that I tried everything. And I was getting pretty desperate. I was thinking to myself, what's the point? What is the point? If this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my life, what is the point? And I am a software developer by trade. So I'm very left brain. I'm very logical. If I can't taste it or smell it or see it, it does. Or I used to think that way. It doesn't exist. And so a friend of mine introduced energy medicine and I was very skeptical. I don't know what you're talking about. This can't possibly help me. I tried everything else, but she convinced me to try a session. And reluctantly, very skeptical. I was very skeptical. I went. I probably was the worst client of that poor woman. I was like, explain to me how this is going to help me. Explain to me how this works. I want a scientific explanation, because that's how my brain used to work. And so that one session was life changing. And look, I'm not telling you that that I was never depressed again, that was the magical wand that completely took all my, worries away. It wasn't that, but it was the missing piece. It was that missing piece of the puzzle that made the whole puzzle come together. And I was like, what is that? What just happened to me? And it wasn't, another thing is, and so I'll quickly say that I'll finish that sentence. My ADHD gets. Anyways. And so I made it my life mission to learn all I can about energy medicine and energy healing. So I could bring this to people and I could show people that they have options that they may not be aware of. Because if you don't know it exists, you can't possibly use it, right? One of my passions is marrying the scientific approach and spirituality, explaining that what I do is not woo-woo, it's not pseudoscience. I don't dress up like a witch. I don't chant. There's none of that. I mean, there's place for that, I'm sure, somewhere, but that's not what I do. Most, I'll say most, I won't say all, most of the methods and modalities that I use are based on science. Mostly everything that I do can be explained by this is how your brain works. This is how your body works. This is how we don't question that there's energy when we talk about physics. There's energy everywhere. We're all made of the same stuff. So I make sure to explain to all of my clients what I do, what it does, so that there's no mystery and they know exactly what they're getting into and what's going to happen. So they're not spooked and they're not scared. None of it is scary. None of it is scary at all. There's some things that I do that are a little out there that do require faith, but that's, that's for people who want that kind of thing. Most of the stuff has to do with trauma, has to do with your emotions and your energy. And everyone knows we have chakras, right? You go to any yoga studio, there's chakras displayed everywhere. And just like we have blood vessels, everybody knows that, right? We have blood vessels that carry blood to every organ, every cell, every muscle. We have energetic highways in our system that carry energy to every organ, every cell, every muscle. So what I do is I make sure that the energy is flowing smoothly. That's all I do. That's literally what I do. And I did say to someone, and they thought it was funny, but also like disgusting, that I'm an energetic plumber. This is what I do. I dig into your energetic system. I get the gunk out because you want that energy to flow smoothly. And if anyone ever has gone to get an acupuncture treatment, what is acupuncture? You go and you say you have a headache and they take a needle and they put it in your foot. And you're thinking, what does that have to, why aren't they putting it in my head? Like you would think, right? Because I have a headache. They put these needles in specific points where the meridians are energetic highways where they meet. This is the place when your energy is blocked. This is the place we're going to put a needle to unblock your energy. This is exactly the same idea. This is exactly what I do with other needles. Yeah. And I'm not saying don't go to acupuncture. It's a wonderful, wonderful method. And there's place for everything, And I always tell people, if you have a therapist you trust, please, by all means, go to therapy. If you have a doctor you trust is the key. And they prescribe you medication. Please take that medication. I will never tell anyone not to do it, but also consider adding energy healing into your regimen so that you get, all of these things that are beneficial. So we'll work as a team. That was a lot of words.
No, you're good. Taking a step back, I have a question. So you have a friend who recommends this and you go. Did you know what to expect? Like, walk me through what that first session was like. Like, what was your experience?
So the first session that I had was actually in the emotion code, which is now one of the first modalities I got certified in. I loved it. It's amazing. I actually flew out to Florida to a conference with Dr. Bradley Nelson, who is the creator of this modality. And I needed to meet him and I needed to ask him one question. I needed to have this question answered. I said, can you please tell me, is there any way that I could cause harm if I use this incorrectly? And he said, no. The worst thing that could happen is that you don't help. Mm-hmm. That's the worst thing that could happen. And I thought to myself, I could live with that. If that's the worst thing that could happen, and we'll leave things as is, I'm fine with that. So I walked into an energy healer and she explained about the method. She told me that she's going to be using muscle testing. Muscle testing is also known as applied kinesiology. It's the study of how your muscles react to true and false statements. Your body knows, your subconscious mind has all the answers. Your body knows all the answers. And when we ask a question of ourselves, that is true. Our muscles react strong to the truth and weak to false. So there are ways to test that. There are many, many different ways to muscle test. I, in my practice, use what's called ring and ring method. I'm going to show you, I can show the listeners, but it's basically two fingers interlocking like this. And so when you say true, something that's true, they're holding strong. But when you say something that's false, they come apart easily. And so I would ask a question and I would say, for example, my name is Mari. And I would try to pull them apart and strong because it's the truth statement. And then I would say, my name is Samantha. And I would try to pull them apart and it comes apart much more easily because it's false. So what I do is, and that's what that practitioner did, she asked a series of questions. Question one, session one, pretty much like this. Is there an underlying imbalance that's contributing to Mari's depression? And the answer was yes. I was like, can I try to identify? The answer was yes. So she went through she has a chart. We work with charts, asking all these questions and try to identify them. And one of the main things that I was not even aware of, and none of us are, every emotion that you feel in your life, no matter how big or small, you could either process it and let it go, or it could get lodged in your energetic body, so known as your aura. Everyone knows you have an aura, right? Mm-hmm. And so that, we call it trapped emotion. It gets lodged. Now your energy is not flowing smoothly. And so what happens, it's a little bowl of energy that's sitting there. Your energy is not flowing. You're attracting more of that. So with me I was 5 years old. I was sleeping at night. I heard a noise and I completely forgot this event because you don't remember this most of the time. I heard a noise in the hallway and I got really scared. I thought somebody broke into the house. I thought we have an intruder. 5-year-old, you're afraid what you're afraid of. And it was my mom. She was getting a drink of water, right? Nothing to be afraid of. But that fear, it wasn't that huge. It wasn't like panic, the house is burning down. But to me, it was big and important. It got lodged. And so now I have this emotion of fear that's sitting there and vibrating a certain frequency. Now I'm more likely to attract more fear because I already have this vibration, right? And then it grew into panic. And then it grew into anxiety. And then it grew, and then it grew, and then it grew, and it became this overwhelming thing that ultimately contributed to me having depression that I never would have remembered. It's 5 years old, Yeah. And she was able to identify and release all of these emotions. And it took work. It wasn't one session. I had a lot. I had a lot. And look, just like you inherited, I'm not saying you, I'm saying anyone. You inherited your eye color, your hair color from your parents, right? Mm-hmm. You inherit these emotions. They may not be yours. Everyone talks about ancestral trauma. This is what it is. Mm-hmm. You inherit this stuff from grandparents 17 generations back, or how about all these people who were watching 9/11, watching the towers fall, right? They're not related to one another in any way, shape, or form, but they're watching the same traumatic effect. So a traumatic event. They experience the same shared emotion of panic and terror, whatever it was, fear, right? They all shared an emotion. So if I were to work with one of them and release that emotion, guess what it does? It releases from everybody else who shares it with them. Just like, inherited emotions, it releases from you. If you got it from your dad, it releases from your dad. If you got it from his dad, it's like it cleans the whole line. It's amazing. And this work is mind-blowing. It's so simple. It is so elegant and it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. That's interesting. Having a son, I don't know how it happened, but I think it must be just learned, right? Like I am very aware and cautious with my own fears so that I don't influence him. Like that was something that I must have just picked up as a child, like seeing my parents' fear, or their opinion or belief on something. And knowing that I have for a very, this is a real example, but just to give you something to hold on to, is I have a fear of whales. I don't like whales. I'm not going to SeaWorld, period. But when you have a child, they want to go to SeaWorld, right? So I know that first of all, I would do anything to make my child happy, right? So I know, is the possibility of me going to SeaWorld high enough? Yes. If I did go to SeaWorld, I don't want him to see his mom afraid of whales because it's not really it's an unreasonable fear. And I don't want it to influence his experience at SeaWorld. And so that is a very real thing that I think about with a lot of stuff that we interact with every day is like making sure I'm allowing him to experience his life in that moment without my influence. Yeah, like I try so hard, and I know it slips because we're not perfect, but it's something that, it's important to me to let him not be influenced by my
I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. The only thing I could say, this is not as Mari Energy Hero, but Mari mom, who did the same exact thing. No matter how much you try, they develop their own fears. They develop their own insecurities. And you just sit there and wonder, this is why I won't work with my daughter also. Because when I started getting stuff out and I uncovered that she had, anger towards me at the age of 7. And then I asked her, I said, was there some, and I could get more, it gets more detailed than that. It's not just like, and I said, was there something? She says, yes. She says, my friend had a box of crayons that were these this is true. She says, really fancy crayons that I really wanted. And you didn't get them. And I was very angry with you. And I said, why did you ask them? She says, no, I never asked you to get them. So I had no way of knowing she wanted them, but she had the anger. Point is, it hurts when I see her emotions. So I won't work with her, but fears and insecurities. And they're just like, wow, how? I tried so hard. I watched how I spoke to her. I watched how I behaved. I tried not to show her, nope.
So do you still have that fear like with the spiders? Does little Nugget?
He loves spiders.
Okay.
Yes. I'm trying to actually think back on if he knows how afraid of spiders I am. He probably does. He loves them.
Snakes.
Oh, I have yes, snakes. I'm afraid of a lot of things, but yes, snakes I'm not a fan of. They had a petting zoo, kind of like a wild creature guy at one of his schools. And I was distracted getting like a snow cone for my son. And I turn around and sure as shit, this guy's there with like this huge freaking snake. And I'm holding the snow cones and like just slowly crushing and melting them.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, it's great, honey. Yeah. Pet the snake. And like, I was like, oh my God.
I just because what thought made me think of that is just you. I remember you sending me the picture of the spider near your tomato plants, and you're like, "We need to burn it down."
Yeah, I don't know if he knows how afraid I am, but I know he knows Mom does not love spiders. He does.
Doesn't love and terrified her too.
Yes. Like there's a scale.
But I am curious about whales because spiders, snakes. I mean, I could understand.
Oh, I know exactly where it comes from. As a child, like it's like literally feels like it happened yesterday. As a kid, we were in school and we were in a library, and they had a lot of National Geographic magazines. And I pulled one because I loved National Geographic magazines when I was little for whatever reason. And I pulled one, and on the friggin' cover was 2 men in a canoe. Not technically a canoe, a small little boat, right? And a breached whale. And the visual of these 2 men who were bigger than me being so small compared to this whale. And I thought, dude, if that whale just I don't know, moved a certain way, that boat's toppling over. Down in the water they go next to this huge whale. Talking about it, I'm like, and that's my fear, is this huge, and it really is anything massive. Like I get like that with skyscrapers too. So I don't know, but the whale specifically.
Come to New York, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but that's exactly where it comes from, and I know it's ridiculous. My friends tease me about it, but
it's not ridiculous. It's important to you.
Yeah, it's
important to you. It made an impact on you.
Yeah.
Let's just say what's big and what's small, right?
Right. And I tell my friends that I've made it this far because I am safe and I don't go near the whales.
If you ever considered getting rid of that fear, okay? Not me, not recommending I'm not. There is a modality that one of the ones that I actually use. It's called Psych-K. It is phenomenal. The reason I said not me, it's because I only work with people this is the only modality when I have to be in person. Okay. Everything else I do on Zoom and in person, but this is the only one because this is very important. This modality, everything I do is just mind blowing. So this one is, it changes the software of your brain. That doesn't change your brain. That's your hardware, right?
Mm-hmm.
It changes the software. It changes the programs that you're running. And it's so freaking quick. And it is quick. It is simple. It will literally change the way you feel about whales or spiders or,
Just fears.
anything. It is crazy good. I just can't do it on Zoom because there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
I think you should focus on the spiders before you do the whales, just because
They're everywhere.
spider haven.
Do you really?
Yeah. We're in Georgia, and I've never seen, what are they, banana spiders ever in my life, and they were freaking everywhere on our trees. You looked up, there's these huge. They were everywhere, and we had guests and they're friends of ours for the pest control podcast. And so we were sending photos one day after I had had a couple of cocktails. I needed them to fully grasp and understand the dire situation I was in. And they swear it's like the best spider to have. Like, no, leave them. They'll eat all the little bugs. And, so I did.
Any spiders. How about no spider is the best spider? I like that. No spider.
Right. He was like, well, technically all spiders are venomous. I was like, done. Just burn it all down. It's fine. Yeah.
I don't like creepy crawlers. I don't like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you went in to your first session. It impacted you enough. I find it very interesting that this part of the puzzle that you would have never thought to be helpful or like a thing, right? Because it wasn't.
I didn't know it was a thing.
Right. And now it has impacted you so much that it has become such a big part of your everyday. I just find that very fascinating. So what has been, I guess, one of the coolest or most impactful things that you've learned about this new lifestyle?
How simple healing can be. How straightforward and simple and quick healing can be. I have stories I could be telling until tomorrow, but the craziest stuff. I mean, I specialize in depression and anxiety and trauma just because that's what brought me, to the plea. But that's not all I do. I have one client who, she had foot fungus that wouldn't go away. And she was taking medication for it. And sometimes that medication could be heavy on the liver and could be, she wasn't loving the effects of medication. And she said it would go away and then would come back. It would go away. 2 sessions. It's been gone for a year. She said her skin is so clear that you cannot tell there was ever anything there. That's crazy stuff. That's crazy stuff. I have a client 2 clients actually. I was working with them at the same time. They were both trying to get pregnant. One lady has been trying for 6 years and another one for 2. And they got pregnant at the same time. They got pregnant. I didn't get them pregnant. I didn't.
They're not your babies.
Their spouses did the work. But what I help do, and this is important, okay? I am not a healer. I don't heal people. That's very important to understand. When you fall down and you scrape your knee, you don't need to tell your knee that it needs to grow new skin. It knows what to do. Your body has an innate ability to heal. When I cut myself today slicing potatoes. My skin, it's going to heal. I have a Band-Aid on just because it's uncomfortable, but I don't need to tell myself, well, now you start growing your skin. It knows what to do. All I do is help your body help heal itself. And I remove energetic blocks so that it could do so efficiently and quickly. So both ladies got pregnant. That was incredible. I was going somewhere with this. I promise I was going somewhere. Where was I going?
It puts stress all the time, believe me.
It does.
I wanted to say, so what I wanted to say is how quick it could be, how incredibly easy it could be, and how it could be applied to every area of your life. It doesn't, some people come to me not because something's wrong. Some people come to me because A, they want to see how much better it could get. And B, some people come to me and they say, look, I'm stuck. I've been working at this job, pays the bills. I'm unhappy, but I don't want to leave because it pays the bills and I have security and I've been there for so long. Can we see what's stopping me? What's getting in the way? Moving forward. So what I was talking about before, the emotion code identifies trapped emotions we have. Then Dr. Nelson created another modality on top of that that's called the body code. The body code deals with trapped emotions, yes, but also imbalances in your body, in your chakras, in your circuits and systems. It looks for toxicity. It looks for mold exposure. It looks for organs and glands that need to be maybe need to be balanced. How about disconnections when people experience a traumatic event? You know how they say like I dissociated or I left my body for a second because that was the only way to survive. Well, people sometimes don't fully come back. They come back, but not fully. So there's this disconnection. So the body code addresses the whole, all of you. And then there's another one that just came out and it's mind boggling. It's called the belief code. It identifies your negative core beliefs, that subconscious programming that you've been running, that you're not aware, and how everything connects. So I work with people who want to make a change in their life. They're happy, but not 100%. Or maybe they want to be a little happier. So let's see what we could figure out. Let's see what's holding you back. Incredible with children. Absolutely incredible with children. Anxiety with children. Children's, anxiety now. We were under the quarantine. I'm in New York. We had it bad. Kids were on Zoom. They were studying on Zoom. And some kids, they started school on Zoom. The little ones, they never actually went to school.
Mm-hmm.
And now suddenly they have to go to a classroom. They're scared out of their minds.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to expect. So anxiety with kids, very, very quick, usually. I mean, I'm not making claims and every case is different, but usually it's quick. Also because they haven't accumulated enough gunk yet. They're still little. Something else I wanted to say. Oh, and a lot of times, and I talk about this a lot of times people who are depressed, they don't know that they're depressed. Because what is traditional definition of depression, right? The feeling of gloom and doom. But it could be so much more than that. Food preference changes. Being on high alert all the time. Sleeping too much, not sleeping enough. Everyone knows that. How about suddenly changing your behavior, avoiding people? You don't know something's wrong, but you just can't be with other people. You get tired super quickly. Your preferences change. You get hot or you get cold. There could be so many different things. There's not one way to identify it. So a lot of times people don't know what's going on. And they'll come to me and says, look, I don't know. I'm just not myself. And it's been going on for a while. Nothing wrong. I went to the doctor. They did all the tests. There's nothing physically wrong with me, but just something doesn't feel right. Let's see what we could find out.
Yeah.
And I'll add one more thing is that the more I do this work, and this is really incredible, the more intuitive I become. And at this point, it is not funny, never funny, but it's a little funny how during a session, I would know exactly what this one thing that we're working on, what it was caused from, which event. I have a client. We uncovered emotion of, I think it was fear. I don't really remember. That's not relevant. At 4 years old. And I kept saying, I see a big white dog. I see a big white dog. But I knew my client never owned any dogs. And then he sat for a second and he goes, oh my gosh, I was at a shopping mall with my parents and I let go of their hand. His, was holding mom, dad, doesn't matter. Let go of the hand that was holding them. And for a second, I thought I was lost. And there was a dog that was being walked towards me. And for a little 4-year-old kid, seeing a decent sized dog when he thinks he's lost, it was terrifying, and so he tracked that. So stuff I get in sessions is just, and I have no way of knowing. Like, I don't know what happened when he was 4, when he was at the mall with his parents. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really, really interesting.
I wish I had known about this modality, last year. I probably would have really benefited from it.
Yeah.
Probably would have gotten to the point where I got to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
this is why. So I started teaching free classes at my local library. And everybody asked me, why do you do this? Why do you spend so much of your time doing this and giving back? Because I want people to have tools. I want people to be able to help themselves. I don't want people to be depending on anyone, myself included. If someone wakes up in the middle of the night, it's 3 a.m. and they're anxious and they're shaking and they can't sleep, what are they going to do? They can't call the doctor. They can't call the therapist, right? You start tapping. You start tapping. EFT, emotional freedom technique. The scripts are available anywhere online. There's so many scripts available. They're super simple. Is it going to cure you? No. Is it going to reduce your anxiety? Yeah. It's going to help. It's not going to make you sleepy, like so sleepy that you'll fall right back asleep, but it will take it down a notch or two. And a lot of times that's what you want. Point is, people don't know that all these things are available. And this is why I'm screaming from the rooftops. There are so many options. There's so many options.
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. I think just in general, I think I can relate to what you had said. And G-Rex, I know from your personal story too, it's like you get to a point where you're desperate and you will try something new, right? Because you've tried things that have failed you in the past. And that's usually, I mean, it worked for me. It was when I learned what I thought was normal, like my normal state of being was me in survival mode. You know, you don't realize that that's a thing until you actually talk and you speak to somebody and you start to kind of uncover these things that you've like pushed down or, you know, or just quote unquote dealing with. Right. So I think for anybody that's listening that is at a point where they need something else, I would recommend, right? Like see somebody like you and figure out what they've been missing.
What's the missing link?
Yeah.
What's the missing link?
Because sometimes, therapy and person-to-person therapy just doesn't do it for people, right?
Yeah.
And you need that extra something just to help, get you over the edge. For me, going to therapy and just sharing my story helped me tremendously because, I didn't want anybody to feel as lonely and messed up as I felt because on the outside, I looked just fine.
Exactly.
I was making people laugh. I was getting my shit done. But on the inside, I was tapped out. I was done.
Wine inside. Yeah.
Fast forward a year. It'll be a year on Christmas. I feel so much better. I'm like a different person.
That's amazing. But I know how you feel. I know I could totally relate to that. From the outside in, everything was fine. Everything looked great.
Yeah.
And I felt like I can't wake up another day because it was just so dark. It was so dark and so lonely. And you can't even explain, even if you have, not everyone has people who care and they could share things with. But even if you're lucky enough to have someone, it's not something you could explain. They don't understand it. There are no words to explain it. I don't want to say until they feel it. I don't wish that on anyone. But until someone experiences this, they don't understand what it feels like.
Yeah. People are different and complex, and not everybody's going to understand exactly what you're going through. And yeah.
And I think for me is, I couldn't find my voice and I couldn't find my footing. So I couldn't really tell anybody what was going on because I was still trying to figure it out for myself. But, I just got more and more depressed, and I don't ever, ever, ever want to feel that way again. Ever. I don't wish that on anybody because it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. I agree. It's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
It's scary. It's very scary. Depression is scary. Anxiety is scary. Panic attacks. Horrible. Horrible. When you really think that you're dying, you don't know what's happening. Like when I had mine, everything would go dark. The room would start spinning. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. I couldn't explain what was going on. The scariest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish more people knew that there are options.
Yeah.
Simple. Very, very simple. And one of the things I love about these modalities is that usually people feel a change after one session. It's not, again, if you have chronic pain, it's not going to go away after one session. That's unrealistic. But you may feel something shifted, something's changed, something feels a little different. People will say, I feel lighter. I feel like something is changing. Yes, because you're getting all the gunk out. Yes.
Love that.
I love that, we're sharing this message, just with our listeners, because there may be people out there that have tried, 10 different things and they still just feel the same, and being able to have these resources and, and look this information up and have somebody to go to may make them feel better. Because there's nothing worse than going and seeing a therapy and you go session after session after session, you still feel like crap.
Exactly.
And you're paying for it.
And you're paying for it.
And then you keep thinking something must be really wrong with me.
Yeah. I'm broken.
I'm doing the work.
Right.
I'm doing the work and nothing's changing. And the pandemic was absolutely horrible, especially for New York. I'm not saying it was better for other places, but New York was hit really hard. But one good thing that came out of it is that now we're able to, people are so used to going on Zoom and working on Zoom. We could have these sessions on Zoom. I don't need to be next to you. You could be in Australia, you could be anywhere, really. And actually, I prefer it that way because if we're going to be uncovering your emotional and your energetic roots of your emotional and physical and mental problems, I want you comfortable. I want you in your favorite chair with your favorite blanket. I want you with your favorite mug of tea or coffee or whatever, water. It doesn't matter. I want you as comfortable as you can be. I don't want you traveling to see me and then traveling home, processing what happened, what we talked about. The Zoom is incredible. There are a couple of things, like I said, I won't do on Zoom only because I need to watch person's breathing and their posture, but mostly everything can be done by Zoom. I do sessions completely remotely. I do sessions by email, but I don't even need to talk to someone. I don't even need to. Yes, everything is energy. We're all energy. I could tap into your subconscious mind with your permission, only with your permission. But if you come to me for a session, you're giving me that permission. If the session's going to be done by email. With children don't need to be present. Children don't need to sit with me in session. They could be playing 3 rooms away, 5 miles away. I don't care. If a parent comes to me and asks for help, I just need parents' permission to tap into that child's energetic field. And I know it sounds a little intrusive, but it's really not. It's always for their best good. It's not hypnosis. I'm not brainwashing anyone. I'm not making them like spinach if they don't like spinach. I can't do that. If I could do that, my face would be on Times Square and every billboard, if I could make kids eat vegetables and not like candy. It's not like that. And it's only if your subconscious mind deems this intrusive and it finds that I shouldn't be doing this, I won't get anywhere. I will get a no and I'll stop the session. Simple as that.
This is so interesting.
I appreciate you sharing your personal story, what your experience is, and how you've been able to help people. I think this is amazing. So for our listeners, where can they find you if they're wanting more information on Mari?
So my website is www.marihelps.com. It's MARIHELPS.com. My website crashed about 3 weeks ago. I had to rebuild it from scratch. Don't even ask. That was fun. So a couple of buttons are not working still. A couple of that I'm changing that, but the information is there. Sessions are there. My pricing is there, and booking link is available. I customize each session based the person. There's no one fit all. And my consultations are always free. I always meet with people. We'll discuss what you want, what you're trying to accomplish out of session. I want to make sure people are comfortable working with me. It's very important because, I'm not for everyone. No one is. And my first session is $25, just again, to show you what it looks like, to give you a taste of it, and then decide if you want to pursue it. So I think that's pretty accessible. And this way, people don't feel like they wasted their life savings on a session and it wasn't successful.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is so awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. This was fun.
Hi, all. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm G-Rex.
And I'm Dirty Skittles.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. We'd love to listen to your feedback.
We can't do this without you guys. It's okay to be not okay. Just make sure you're talking to someone.